Look around you. Every wall, every machine, every rule, every result. It was all created by someone no more human than you. No more capable, no more destined, no more chosen. They simply decided to take control. While the world sleeps, waits, and makes excuses, a rare few understand the truth. You are not a slave of circumstance. You are the master of your destiny. And that mastery begins the moment you accept total responsibility. Your life is a mirror. What you see in it is the result of the thoughts you think, the choices you make, and the actions you take or refuse to take. Blame is the currency of the weak. Masters don't blame. They accept, they adapt, and they act. If your current situation is not what you desire, then good. That discomfort is your alarm clock. It's proof that you're meant for more. But the power to change lies not in a system, not in a handout, not in a miracle. The power lies in you. The first step is definiteness of purpose. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. Wandering through life without a clear goal is spiritual suicide. Decide what you want. Decide how you want to live. Decide what you will no longer tolerate. This clarity is not optional. It is the root of power. Men who drift are tools for those who are focused. Don't be a tool. Be the architect. Once you have that purpose, burn it into your mind. Your thoughts are the blueprint of your reality. What you think about all day long, you eventually become. So if you constantly feed your mind with doubt, fear, and limitation, your life will shrink accordingly. But if your mind is set ablaze with belief, with vision, and with bold expectation, your reality will bend to match it. Thoughts are seeds. Guard your mental soil. Now let's speak truth. Belief without action is worthless. Too many men read books, attend talks, and make plans, but never move. They prepare endlessly for a war they never fight. That is cowardice dressed as wisdom. If you want power, you must act, and you must act decisively. Discipline is the bridge between thought and result. Your success is tied to your ability to do what you said you would do, long after the mood you set it in has passed. Understand this. Persistence separates the masters from the masses. There will be failure. There will be setbacks. But you must keep pressing. Those who rise are not those who never fall. They are those who refuse to stay down. Every time you get up, you send a message to the world, you will not break me. And in time, the world bows to the unbreakable. The enemy within, fear, is the greatest barrier. It whispers, delays, distracts. But fear is smoke and mirrors. It thrives in hesitation. Face it, and it disappears. Decide boldly, and courage is born. No one is fearless by nature, but all men can become fearless by choice. Your power grows each time you act in the face of fear. This world does not reward the timid, it rewards the relentless. You must demand what you want from life, not beg for it. The universe does not yield to the man who knocks softly. It yields to the man who kicks the door in and declares, "I have arrived." Speak your dreams out loud. Chase them like a beast. Command results or remain forgotten. You are not here to live in reaction. You are here to create. You are not here to survive. You are here to conquer. Whatever your background, your past, your pain, it's fuel. Use it. Your story is not over, and you are the author of every next chapter. So write with intention, write with courage. Write like your legacy depends on it, because it does. Never forget this law. You will not be given what you wish for. You will be given what you work for. Wishes are for the weak. Work is the weapon of kings. Raise your standards. Refuse average. And when your old self tries to return, remind it who's in control now. You are the master of your destiny. Say it, live it, prove it. Every man is born with the power to choose his path. Your future is not fate, it is forged. You are not a leaf in the wind, drifting wherever the breeze of circumstance may blow. You are the wind itself, capable of shaping the storm, commanding direction, and bending the environment to your will. The lie they feed you is that some people are lucky, that success is random, that greatness belongs to the chosen few. But the truth is this: every outcome, every achievement, every triumph begins with a decision. One clear, definite, and intentional decision made by someone who refused to surrender their life to chance. You were not created to obey circumstance. You were born to master it. Look around. Everything in your world, every detail of your life is the result of choices made or avoided. And that means you hold the key. Right now, not tomorrow, not someday. Now, you are not shackled by your past unless you choose to drag it like dead weight into your future. The moment you realize this is the moment you wake up to your true power. Life does not decide for you. People do not decide for you. The economy, the politics, the critics, none of them dictate your end. You do. You always have. You are the one who will walk forward or stay stuck. You are the one who will speak boldly or remain silent. You are the one who will build the dream or watch someone else do it while you envy from the sidelines. This is not about fairness. This is about fire. It is about the one who wants it badly enough to endure the pressure required to earn it. Success is not handed out. It is extracted from life by the one who refuses to be denied. There is no honor in hesitation. There is no growth in comfort. And there is no destiny without desire backed by action. If you keep waiting for the right time, the perfect condition, the green light from others, you will rot in the waiting room of life. You must declare that now is the moment. Not when you're ready, not when it's easy, but now, because no one will hand you the life you deserve. You must take it, command it. You must step into it with intensity that intimidates your old self. The weak part of you will resist. It will scream with fear. It will whisper every excuse. But you must silence it with action. Discipline is your sword and persistence is your armor. Do not entertain thoughts of failure, starve them. Feed only the belief that what you desire is already yours. It simply waits for your relentless pursuit. Your mind must be trained like a warrior trains his body. Sharpen it, strengthen it, guard it from the pollution of doubt and distraction. The world will try to invade your thinking with mediocrity, fear, and compromise. It will try to sell you the idea that you're doing enough, that you should slow down, that success is for someone else. Reject it all. Dismiss it like poison, because every time you let a weak thought live, it steals your future. You must see yourself as the master, the one in control, the one whose word is law. This means there can be no more broken promises to yourself. When you say you'll rise early, rise. When you say you'll push further, push. When you say you'll make it happen, move like the world depends on it, because your world does. Mastery comes to the one who commands his own behavior. It does not arrive for the one who simply dreams. The dream must be followed by work so aggressive, so consistent, so obsessive, that the universe has no choice but to respond. Results come to the one who has decided that excuses are not part of his vocabulary. You will be tested, you will be ignored, you will be laughed at. But none of that matters. What matters is what you do when the applause is gone, when the road is empty, when no one believes but you. That is the proving ground of destiny. Anyone can be motivated when it's easy, but it's the man who moves through pain, fatigue, failure, and silence who becomes untouchable. He is the one who understands that the pain is temporary, but the prize is eternal. Every drop of effort, every second of sacrifice, every act of courage adds up like bricks forming a fortress. And when the time comes, when the door finally opens, it will not be by accident. It will be because you kicked it open with work no one else was willing to do. There will be moments where the vision feels far away, where you're alone, where progress is slow. But you must never back down. The fire must burn regardless of the weather. Your inner world must be so solid, so focused, so committed that no outer chaos can move you. You become unstoppable not by talent, not by luck, but by decision followed by unshakable discipline. The reward is not only in the destination, but in the man you become along the way. The one who owns his life fully and answers to no one but his highest calling. This is the path of mastery. This is the path of power. And this is your path, if you claim it. Definiteness of purpose is the first step toward mastery. Know exactly what you want. Until you decide with absolute clarity what you're aiming for, your efforts are scattered, your energy is diluted, and your results are minimal. Vague wishes, blurry goals, and half-hearted desires do not move mountains. Precision is power. A man without a definite aim is like a ship without a compass, adrift, at the mercy of external forces, going nowhere with speed. But the moment you declare your purpose with conviction, the fog clears, the distractions fall away, and your mind begins to organize every thought, action, and resource toward that central mission. You cannot hit a target that doesn't exist. You cannot claim victory if you don't know the battlefield. Life does not respond to confusion. It responds to certainty, and it rewards the one who knows what he wants with opportunities others simply cannot see it. It is not enough to casually want something. You must want it with intensity, with hunger, with such obsession that it consumes your thoughts day and night. The world is full of people who want success, but few who are specific about what that success actually looks like. Do you want wealth? How much? Do you want freedom? What does it mean to you? Do you want to lead? Where and whom? The clearer the vision, the stronger the foundation. A weak man waits for life to give him direction. A strong man gives life its orders. When you define your purpose with exactness, your decisions become automatic. You know what to say yes to and what to reject instantly. You stop wasting time. You stop chasing trends. You stop looking around for approval. You become a laser, not a flashlight. And that focus is what turns average men into giants. The moment you set a definite purpose, you ignite a fire within that no external flame can provide. It becomes your reason to wake up early, to endure hardship, to say no to temptation, and to fight forward when everything in you screams to quit. People without purpose look for motivation daily. People with purpose become self-propelling. They don't need cheerleaders. They don't need luck. They need only a moment of silence to remember why they started. A man with purpose is dangerous. He cannot be swayed by cheap opinions. He cannot be defeated by a single loss, and he cannot be owned by doubt. His steps may be slow at times, but every step is in the right direction. Every effort compounds. Every sacrifice means something. Purpose turns struggle into investment and pain into currency. Without purpose, you are easily manipulated. You will chase every shiny object. You will believe what others tell you. You will be at the mercy of trends, circumstances, and noise. But with purpose, you become immovable. You stop asking for permission to chase your goals. You stop apologizing for wanting more. Purpose is not a luxury. It is your weapon. It separates you from the masses who live on autopilot. It makes you immune to the mediocrity that surrounds you. Once your purpose is locked in, life becomes a chessboard. Every move has meaning. Every sacrifice has value. Every action becomes a step closer to something greater. It is this mindset that builds empires while others build excuses. There is no mastery without commitment, and there is no commitment without clarity. If you don't know exactly what you want, how can you ever summon the will to fight for it? Mastery requires obsession, and obsession is born from knowing with every fiber of your being that what you are chasing is worth it. Vague dreams will not sustain you through hell. Only the deeply defined, clearly envisioned purpose can push you through the dark when there is no applause, no reward, and no recognition. That is the test. That is where men are separated from boys. Those who continue when the fire is out, when the road is lonely, when the only voice is the one inside reminding you why it all matters, those are the ones who master life instead of becoming a victim of it. Purpose simplifies everything. It takes 1,000 paths and narrows them to one. It silences the noise. It ends indecision. It kills procrastination. When you know your mission, every obstacle becomes irrelevant. You find ways instead of finding excuses. You adapt, you evolve, you press. There's no more waiting for the right time, because the right time is whenever you decide. This is the mindset of builders, of conquerors, of those who do not settle for what is handed to them. Purpose is not just a vision. It is a command, a vow, a battle cry, and it must be repeated to yourself until it becomes part of your identity. You don't just pursue it, you become it. And the truth is this: no one can define your purpose for you. Not your parents, not society, not your friends. You must dig deep and be brutally honest. What do you want? What drives you? What are you willing to suffer for, sacrifice for, fight for? That is your answer. That is your power. Once you've found it, protect it, feed it, build your life around it, because a man without a clear purpose is a pawn, but a man with purpose is a king. Decide what you want, commit to it fully, and let the world feel the force of a man who knows exactly where he's going. Faith in yourself is non-negotiable. Doubt is the destroyer of all greatness. There is no force more lethal to potential than the silent whisper of disbelief. It creeps in when the path gets hard, when the results are slow, when the crowd turns silent. Doubt is the assassin of dreams dressed in logic, fear, and excuses. It doesn't need to shout to be dangerous. It only needs to be tolerated. The moment you start questioning your worth, your ability, your path, you've already stepped off the road to mastery. No man has ever built anything of value while doubting himself. Faith is not a soft hope. It is a brutal, unwavering conviction that no matter what stands in your way, you are enough to tear it down and walk forward with certainty. Every empire began with one man who believed when no one else did. Every innovation, every revolution, every great act began in the mind of someone who chose faith over fear. Not because they were fearless, but because they refused to let fear make decisions for them. Faith is not the absence of challenge. Faith is the decision to move anyway. And make no mistake, it is a decision. It is a mental contract you sign with yourself that says, no matter how hard, how long, or how painful this gets, I will not back down. This kind of belief is rare because most people only believe when they see results. But greatness belongs to those who believe before they see. They trust the vision long before the victory. That is the edge. That is the separator. The world will give you 100 reasons to doubt yourself. People will project their limitations on you. The past will try to trap you in guilt. Circumstances will shift to challenge your will. But none of it matters if you've already decided who you are. You must become the kind of man who does not waver when the pressure hits. The kind of man who holds his head high even when no one is clapping. The kind of man who speaks success into existence even while standing in failure. Faith like that cannot be given. It must be built. It is constructed through commitment, discipline, and constant exposure to your vision. You don't wait to feel it. You forge it through action repeated over and over until it becomes identity. Doubt doesn't come from lack of evidence. It comes from lack of commitment. The moment you go all in, truly all in, doubt has no room to grow. But as long as you hesitate, as long as you dip your toe instead of diving in, doubt will multiply. The cure is not more information. The cure is decision. Once you decide fully and without retreat, your mind aligns with your mission. Your body finds energy. Your focus becomes lethal. But indecision is the breeding ground for weakness. You cannot afford to live in that space. Choose faith not because it's easy, but because it's the only thing that guarantees movement. And movement is everything. Progress is what builds belief. Even the smallest step forward affirms your strength. Stop looking around for permission to believe in yourself. Stop waiting for proof. Stop comparing your journey to anyone else's. You are not them. You were never meant to be them. You have something inside you that no one else has, and the only way it will ever come alive is if you stop doubting it and start demanding it. Speak victory over your life before it arrives. Speak power into your identity before it manifests. This isn't delusion, it's declaration. This is the behavior of warriors, of builders, of those who refuse to let the world tell them who they are. Faith in yourself is the fire, and every time you act with that faith, the flame grows stronger. You must understand, life will test you. It will push you to the edge. It will strip away comfort, approval, and certainty. And in that moment, when it feels like the ground is shaking beneath your feet, the only thing that will keep you standing is your belief in yourself. That is why it must be non-negotiable. You cannot afford to let it fluctuate with your emotions or environment. It must be built into your code. You must walk into every room, every challenge, every setback with the internal certainty that you are capable, worthy, and unstoppable. Not because you're perfect, but because you're persistent. Not because you never fall, but because you always rise. That belief cannot be faked. It must be earned. And it is earned through consistent action in the face of resistance. Faith is a habit. It is not something that appears once and stays. It must be fed. It must be reaffirmed daily. You must remind yourself of who you are and what you're building until the world cannot ignore it. Write it, say it, live it. Surround yourself with evidence of your progress. Measure it, track it, celebrate it, not because you need validation, but because every win reinforces the voice that says you are capable of more. Let that voice become the loudest in your mind. Let it echo so fiercely that doubt has no place to hide. And when you face resistance, and you will, let your response be, "This is where I prove it," not to them, to yourself. Because belief is not something you borrow. It is something you own. When you own it, you move different. You speak different. You don't negotiate with fear anymore. You don't shrink in the presence of pressure. You expand, you dominate, you execute. Because a man with unshakable faith in himself cannot be stopped. He cannot be distracted. He cannot be controlled. He has chosen to rise, and that decision, backed by relentless action, backed by focused fire, backed by daily discipline, becomes a force no obstacle can contain. You are not here to wonder what's possible. You are here to prove it. You are not here to beg for greatness. You are here to claim it. And it begins the moment you stop doubting who you are and start becoming what you are meant to be. You become what you consistently think about. Guard your mind like a fortress. Your thoughts are not harmless. They are seeds, and every seed planted in your mind grows into action, habit, character, and destiny. If your mind is consumed by fear, you will move in hesitation. If it's filled with doubt, you will shrink under pressure. But if your mind is fed with power, purpose, and clarity, you will rise no matter the challenge. Every great achievement begins in thought. Every failure is also rooted in thought. You are not what you wish to be. You are what you think about daily, hourly, relentlessly. The thoughts you allow to live in your mind will shape everything about your future, whether you want them to or not. This is not philosophy. This is law. Most people live on autopilot, letting the world decide what they think about. News, gossip, distractions, negativity. These are the invaders of a weak mind. They come in subtly, masked as entertainment or information, but they leave destruction in their path. A distracted mind cannot create. A fearful mind cannot build. A negative mind cannot win. That's why your mind must be guarded. You don't let anything or anyone walk in freely. Your mind is your kingdom, and it must be defended like one. You decide what enters, what stays, and what dies at the gate. That is the discipline of greatness. That is the inner work most will never do. But the ones who do, those are the ones who shape the world while the rest just react to it. If you think you're not good enough, you will sabotage your own progress. If you think success belongs to someone else, you will quit before you've even started. But if you think with strength, if you think with vision, if you think with persistence, you will do the things others fear and become the person they said was impossible. Your thoughts are the architects of your life. That's why you must not entertain weakness. You must not dwell on failure. You must not rehearse defeat. Every thought repeated becomes a belief. Every belief practiced becomes your reality. So choose your thoughts with precision. Speak power. Imagine victory. Visualize discipline. Train your mind to obey your vision, not your emotions. You can have the best strategy, the best resources, and the best opportunities, but if your mind is weak, you will still lose. That's why winners don't just train their skills. They train their thoughts. They feed their minds with strength. They recite their goals daily. They speak as if the result is already done, not because they're delusional, but because they understand the law. What you focus on expands. Whatever dominates your mind will dominate your life. If you let negativity in, it will grow. If you give it time and attention, it will take root. And once it becomes rooted, it becomes difficult to remove. That's why you don't just fight it. You starve it. You refuse to give it life. Protect your mind from the opinions of small thinkers. Protect it from the habits of the lazy. Protect it from the lies of your past. Every time you choose to feed your mind with strength, you take one step closer to becoming unstoppable. You reprogram yourself for success, not by magic, but by mastery. And mastery begins with mental discipline. Wake up and feed your mind what it needs: clarity, repetition, focus, and belief. This is not once in a while. This is every day. You don't become strong by lifting once. You don't become disciplined by practicing occasionally. You become unshakable by conditioning your mind like a warrior trains for battle. Ruthlessly, repetitively, and with purpose, the mind will reflect what it is exposed to the most. If you fill it with chaos, it will return confusion. If you feed it silence, it will generate clarity. If you bombard it with negativity, don't be surprised when your results match. But if you constantly inject it with purpose, direction, and unwavering faith, your outer world will begin to mirror that. This is not motivational fluff. This is how the brain works. Your dominant thoughts trigger emotion. Emotion drives behavior. Behavior creates results. If your results are weak, trace it back to your thoughts. What have you been allowing in? What have you been replaying in your head? What are you rehearsing when no one's watching? Your results will answer those questions honestly. You cannot afford to be careless with what occupies your mind. You must choose thoughts like a warrior chooses weapons, with intent. You must know which thoughts to kill and which to keep. The thoughts of regret, fear, guilt, jealousy, they do not serve your mission. Replace them, bury them, speak against them. Your voice must be louder than your doubt. Your focus must be stronger than your fear. This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. This is about knowing that your thoughts will either build you or break you. So why not build? Why not choose the thoughts that serve your purpose and refuse anything that doesn't? That is mental leadership. That is how you take command. The mind is not your enemy. It becomes your enemy when you neglect it. But when trained, when disciplined, when focused, your mind becomes your greatest weapon. You won't need outside motivation when your inner dialogue is powerful. You won't need validation when your thoughts are aligned with your purpose. And you won't need to escape your mind when it becomes a place of fire, clarity, and strength. That's what separates those who talk from those who do. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's the ability to control what happens between your ears and direct it toward what must be done. No matter how you feel, if you want to rise, master your mind. If you want to lead, master your thoughts. If you want to build something that cannot be shaken, guard your thinking like the future depends on it, because it does. What you feed your mind today becomes the strength you carry tomorrow. You don't get what you want, you get what you believe. And what you believe is shaped by what you think about over and over without compromise. Choose your thoughts like your life depends on it, because it absolutely does. No success comes without disciplined action. Plans mean nothing without execution. You can write the most detailed vision, map out every step, study every strategy, and read every book. But if you don't act with discipline, it all dies in your mind. Execution is the bridge between potential and reality. Ideas are worthless without movement. Talk is cheap when it isn't backed by sweat. The world is full of dreamers who never took the first step, planners who never moved past intention, and thinkers who died full of unfulfilled potential. Discipline separates the wishers from the winners. It takes what you want and makes it real through repeated effort. That is the price. That is the only way anything of value is ever built. You cannot negotiate with discipline. It is not something you do when it's easy or when you feel like it. Discipline is what you commit to no matter the mood, no matter the weather, no matter the applause. It's what kicks in when motivation dies. It's what drags you forward when comfort calls you to stay still. Without it, success is impossible. Not unlikely, impossible. Because the road to any worthy goal is paved with resistance, setbacks, and fatigue. Without disciplined action, you will give up at the first obstacle. You will rationalize quitting. You will let emotion overpower your purpose. That's what happens to the undisciplined. They live life reacting. But those who move with discipline control outcomes. They don't hope for results. They impose them. A man who acts with discipline becomes dangerous. He is no longer a slave to impulse. He doesn't need external force to move. He becomes self-driven. While others wait for the right time, he creates it. While others complain, he builds. While others rest in excuses, he gets to work. There is no secret, no shortcut, no hidden code. There is only disciplined action repeated until the result appears. The world cannot stop a man who refuses to stop showing up. Time bows to him. Resistance breaks under him. Failure becomes feedback, not finality. Because when you move in discipline, you cannot be denied, you can only be delayed. Don't tell people your plans. Show them your habits. Don't talk about what you're going to do. Show them what you're doing consistently. The disciplined man doesn't speak loudly. His results do. He doesn't chase perfection. He masters consistency. Day after day, hour after hour, he executes. And that execution compounds. One action done with precision every day multiplies into unstoppable momentum. Success isn't one big leap. It's small, disciplined steps taken without excuse. That's what turns invisible progress into visible power. That's how legacies are built. While others watch from the sidelines, the undisciplined are always waiting to feel ready, waiting for support, waiting for the conditions to be just right. But the truth is, you'll never feel ready. Conditions will never be perfect. The disciplined man doesn't care. He acts anyway. He trains himself to move forward when it's uncomfortable, when it's inconvenient, when it hurts. He understands that every delay has a cost. Every missed day is a step backward. So he doesn't waste time. He moves with urgency because he respects what he's building. He knows time is not his servant. It's his test. You don't become successful by wanting it more than others. You become successful by working when others don't. When others sleep, you grind. When others entertain themselves, you sacrifice. When others make excuses, you make progress. Discipline is doing what you must, even when it's the last thing you feel like doing, and it's doing it well, with focus, with intention, with pride. It's knowing that how you do one thing is how you do everything. It's mastering the little tasks so the big victories take care of themselves. It's cleaning up your habits, your time, your environment, until your entire life reflects your mission. Stop overthinking. Stop waiting for the spark. Stop planning your next plan. Act, execute, move. If you only act when you feel inspired, you'll fail. If you only execute when the world is clapping, you'll break. The disciplined man doesn't rely on mood. He relies on decisions. He decides once, and then he acts every day like the decision still matters. That's how you win, not by being more talented, not by having more resources, but by showing up, doing the work, and doing it again. Over time, the disciplined man becomes unstoppable, not because he's perfect, but because he's relentless. He doesn't stop for weakness. He doesn't bend to pressure. He doesn't retreat for comfort. There's a cost to success, and it's not paid in words. It's paid in action, daily, repetitive, sometimes boring action. But that's the test. Can you do the simple things without fail? Can you execute your habits without excuse? Can you stay locked in when life tries to distract you? The one who says yes to those questions wins. Not immediately, not easily, but inevitably. Because discipline is undefeated over time. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it is final. It finishes what others only dream about. It becomes the edge that makes talent irrelevant and separates the doers from the dreamers. Your plan means nothing if you're not working it daily. Your vision is empty if your calendar doesn't reflect it. Your goal is a fantasy until your habits match it. There is no shortcut, no bypass, no other way. Discipline is the cost. It's the gatekeeper. It's the test that decides whether you really want what you say you want. And only those willing to pay in action ever cross the line from average to extraordinary. So stop talking. Stop planning. Start executing like your life depends on it, because it does. Persistence is the test. Most people quit before the prize is within reach. The path to anything worthwhile is long, hard, and filled with pain. It's designed that way on purpose, not to break you, but to build you into someone worthy of the result. Most people can start. Most people can work hard for a day or a week. But persistence is not about one moment of effort. It's about continued effort without visible reward. It's showing up again and again with no applause, no recognition, and no guarantee. And that's where most break. They stop moving because they can't see the end. They think the silence means failure, when in reality, it's the storm before the breakthrough. Quitting always looks easier in the short term. It promises relief, comfort, and a fast escape from pressure. But what it really delivers is regret, and regret weighs more than persistence ever will. The man who pushes forward, even with bleeding hands and burning lungs, is the one who crosses the line. Not because he had better circumstances, but because he refused to stop. Persistence is brutal, but it is fair. It doesn't ask for perfection, only repetition. It doesn't demand talent, only toughness. It doesn't reward emotion, only execution. And it guarantees one thing: those who endure longer than their obstacles eventually break through them. You have to decide early and completely that you will not quit, not when it gets hard, not when it gets slow, not when it gets lonely. That decision must be final. You cannot allow negotiation with your lower self. The moment you give your mind the option to retreat, you've already started to lose. Persistence is not just about effort, it's about identity. It's about becoming the kind of man who sees struggle as signal, not as sign to stop. It's about conditioning yourself to keep moving when others pause, to keep working when others sleep, to keep believing when everyone else doubts. That mindset is what separates leaders from followers. Understand this. Success does not come to the smartest or the fastest. It comes to the most persistent, because everything worth building takes longer than expected. Every dream comes with hidden setbacks, unseen delays, and quiet suffering. The ones who make it are not the lucky, they are the committed. They outlast the storm. They endure the silence. They keep swinging the hammer until the wall cracks. Even if it takes 100 days, 1,000 days, they don't count the time, they count the mission. That's the level of persistence that brings power. That's the level that carves names into history. Your current struggle is not proof that you're failing. It's proof that you're fighting. It's confirmation that you're still in the game. Most people confuse resistance with failure. But resistance is what makes you strong. Resistance is what tests your belief. It's the proving ground of greatness. If it were easy, it wouldn't be valuable. If it were fast, it wouldn't be rare. You have to decide that no amount of pain, no amount of delay, no amount of doubt will be enough to stop you. That decision, once made, makes you dangerous. Because once you refuse to quit, the game changes. The obstacles lose power. Time becomes your weapon, and persistence becomes your edge. You'll be tempted to stop. You'll hear the voice that says, "This isn't working." You'll feel the weight of slow progress. But remember, results take time to surface. Progress is often invisible before it's undeniable. Most give up in the final stretch, right before the breakthrough, right before the shift. They stop digging when they're inches from gold. You can't be that man. You must keep pushing with blind faith and brutal effort, because your future is on the other side of that extra day, that extra rep, that extra try. And if you stop now, you don't just lose progress. You lose who you were becoming. Persistence is not flashy. It doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it looks like working in silence while no one claps. Sometimes it looks like failing publicly and showing up anyway. Sometimes it looks like crawling forward when you used to run. But each time you refuse to stop, you become stronger than your past. Each time you persist, you separate yourself from the quitters, the talkers, and the excuse makers. You build a mind that doesn't flinch, a heart that doesn't fold, and a life that can't be shaken. And that kind of power doesn't come from talent. It comes from repetition through resistance. The man who wins is not the man who never struggled. It's the one who never surrendered. Every scar became his story. Every fall became his lesson. Every delay became his refinement. That's the beauty of persistence. It doesn't just get you the result, it transforms you in the process. It burns away weakness. It eliminates doubt. It strengthens identity. So by the time you arrive at the goal, you're not the same man who started. You're a force. You're built for more. And now the next mountain doesn't scare you because you've already proven that you cannot be broken if you want to win. Commit to the long game. Commit to daily effort without expectation. Commit to being the last one standing when others fold. That's what makes you unstoppable. Not talent, not speed, but the refusal to quit. Build that fire inside you. Stoke it with discipline. Feed it with focus. And protect it from the voice that tells you to slow down. This is the test. This is the moment. And if you can keep moving, If you can keep striking, if you can keep building even when the prize feels distant, you will not be denied. Because persistence always wins. Always you must control fear, or fear will control you. Courage is born in decision. Fear is the invisible chain that holds most men back from greatness. It whispers lies, magnifies risk, and paralyzes action. But fear itself holds no real power unless you submit to it. Fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision. Every time you choose to move forward despite fear, you build strength. You teach your mind that you are in command, not the emotion. You were not born to live in hesitation. You were not built to retreat when things get uncomfortable. The man who controls fear is the man who conquers himself, and that is the highest form of power. Fear is natural, but submission is optional. Everyone feels fear. It's not a flaw, it's part of your design. But whether that fear becomes a wall or a weapon depends on what you do with it. Weak men wait for fear to disappear. Strong men act while it's present. That's the difference. One man waits for courage to arrive, the other creates it with his actions. You don't need to feel brave to move. You need to decide that nothing will stop you. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's forward movement in the face of it. And every time you take action when fear tries to hold you still, you weaken its grip. You teach yourself to obey purpose over panic. The cost of letting fear run your life is everything you could have been, every dream you didn't chase, every risk you avoided, every voice you silenced inside yourself. That is the tax of fear, and it compounds with time. The longer you listen to it, the smaller your life becomes. Your confidence fades. Your boldness shrinks. Your vision dies slowly under the weight of what if. But when you fight back, when you act despite the shaking hands and racing heart, you reclaim your power. You stand taller. You breathe deeper. You start to remember who you are and what you're capable of. Fear feeds on inaction. The longer you wait, the louder it gets. It gains momentum with every excuse you make. It multiplies with every opportunity you turn down. But when you take even one step into the storm, you disrupt its hold. You expose its weakness. You realize fear was just smoke, not fire. The monster in your mind is often far greater than the reality you face. And you only discover that truth by doing the thing you're afraid of. Action kills anxiety. Progress silences panic. Momentum starves fear until it has no voice left. That is how you win, not by waiting, but by doing. Don't pray for fear to vanish. Pray for strength to act through it. The man who expects a fearless life is not prepared for battle. But the man who trains to move through fear, who leans into discomfort, who chooses action in the middle of resistance, that man becomes unstoppable. His enemies cannot manipulate him. His setbacks cannot shake him. His doubts cannot delay him. Because he has already made the decision, fear does not own him. That decision becomes armor. It becomes clarity. It becomes the force that separates the strong from the stuck. You must understand this clearly. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. The next level of your life, your business, your relationships, your identity, it all demands a bolder version of you. You cannot enter new territory with the same small mindset. You have to become the man who moves forward when it's risky, when it's uncertain, when there are no guarantees. That's what transforms you. That's what elevates you. And that's what fear hates most. Your willingness to face it without retreat. Because fear can't exist in a heart that's made a final decision. It dies in the presence of unwavering commitment. The world does not reward the most talented. It rewards the most courageous, the man who makes bold moves, who puts his name on the line, who takes the leap when others sit still. He's the one who gets ahead, not because he's fearless, but because he refuses to be controlled by the emotion. The marketplace bows to men of action. Society remembers those who moved forward in the fire. Weakness and worry are not badges, they are anchors. If you want to lead, if you want to dominate, you must break free from that weight. And the only way to do that is to act when fear tries to make you freeze. Fear will never fully go away, but neither will your mission. You choose which one gets your loyalty. If you obey fear, your mission dies. If you obey your mission, fear dies. That is the choice every man must make, not once, but every day. The voice of fear doesn't go silent. It just gets drowned out by a louder one, the voice of purpose. And that voice grows stronger with each decision made in alignment with your goals. You don't have time to sit in fear. You don't have the luxury of waiting for perfect peace before you move. This life is war, and war rewards action, so the next time fear shows up, don't run. Don't rationalize. Don't explain it away. Face it. Look it in the eye and move anyway. That is your power. That is how you rise. You won't always feel ready, but readiness is a myth. You are ready the moment you decide you are. You are powerful the moment you act like it. And you are free the moment you stop negotiating with fear and start commanding your future. Let that be the line in the sand. Let that be the moment you stop living in hesitation, because the man who commands fear does not just survive, he dominates, he leads, he builds, and he leaves behind a legacy carved in courage. The world yields only to those who command it. Timid requests earn nothing. Life does not respond to wishes, it responds to will. Those who approach it with hesitation are ignored, stepped over, and forgotten. The man who moves with conviction bends reality to his vision. The one who stands with uncertainty is swept away by stronger minds. You are not here to beg the world for a chance. You are here to take it. You are not a guest in this life. You are the architect. You do not whisper your goals. You declare them. You do not knock softly on the door of success. You kick it open. That is how power is taken. That is how dreams become visible. The universe does not respect the man who doubts himself. It respects the one who walks with absolute clarity, who knows what he wants and is willing to do whatever it takes. If you ask for life to be gentle with you, it will treat you as fragile. If you walk into a room unsure of your worth, no one will offer it to you. You cannot shrink and expect to grow. You cannot stay silent and expect to be heard. The man who commands life does so with presence. He speaks with finality. He moves with intent. He takes up space not by force, but by certainty. And that certainty is earned through disciplined thought and relentless action.
There is no prize for playing small.
There is no honor in waiting for permission. The timid man hopes for opportunity. The bold man creates it. The timid man watches from the shadows. The bold man steps into the fire. He knows that no one is coming to save him. No one is coming to hand him his future. That future belongs to the one who shows up with the courage to demand more from life, from others, and most of all from himself. Command does not begin with the world. It begins with your mind. If you cannot command your thoughts, you cannot command your outcomes. If you cannot take ownership of your internal world, you will always be a servant to the external one. You must become the kind of man who expects results, not favors. You don't ask the world to be fair. You prepare yourself to be fierce. You don't ask for breaks. You break through. That mindset transforms your posture. It changes how you walk, how you talk, how you think, and how the world reacts to you. Because the world reads energy. It knows the difference between a man who is pretending to be powerful and one who has become it. That power does not come from noise. It comes from belief. It comes from discipline. It comes from the inner voice that says, I belong here, and then backs it up with action. A man who commands life doesn't fear rejection, because rejection means nothing to a man who has already accepted himself. He does not fear failure, because he understands failure is part of the path. He does not fear being seen, because he has nothing to hide. This man doesn't wait for perfect conditions. He creates progress out of chaos. He doesn't look around for approval. He moves with self-issued authority. And that is what the world respects. Not noise, not begging, not hesitation, but the undeniable clarity of a man who knows what he came here to do and refuses to be moved by anything less. Stop asking. Stop hoping. Stop waiting. Start moving with the energy of a man who expects to win. Let your decisions speak louder than your doubts. Let your vision be so strong that it overrides every obstacle. Let your presence demand attention before you say a single word. That is how you shift from the passive to the powerful. That is how you stop reacting to life and start shaping it. When you walk into a room, let it be known that you carry intent. When you speak, let it be with direction, not confusion. When you act, let it be with certainty, not hesitation. The world bows to clarity. The world moves for force. This is not about arrogance. It's about alignment. It's about becoming so deeply connected to your mission that everything you do reflects it. Your walk, your speech, your choices, they all tell the world you mean business. There's no more room for lukewarm desire. There's no more space for soft ambition. You either step forward with command or you stay behind with regret, because life is too short to be lived in, maybe. Success does not wait for the hesitant. It rushes toward the bold, toward the one who stands up and says, "This is mine," and then moves until it is. Don't shrink yourself to fit someone else's comfort. Don't dim your light so others won't feel insecure. Your destiny requires you to step fully into power, not hide from it. The more boldly you show up, the more boldly life responds. The clearer your standards, the sharper your results. You are not here to be accepted by the world. You are here to change it. You are not here to ask life to be gentle. You are here to show life what strength looks like. You are not here to wait for your turn. You are here to take the lead. And every time you choose command over complaint, power over passivity, purpose over permission, you step closer to the man you were born to become. Let today be the day you stop whispering your goals. Speak them with fire. Let today be the day you stop walking lightly through life. Walk like you own it. Let today be the day you stop negotiating with fear and start enforcing your vision. The world is not your enemy, but it is your test, and it will not move for you until you prove you are serious. So stand tall, move with force, act without doubt, and let everything you do say one thing loud and clear: you did not come here to ask, you came here to command, so now you decide. No more hesitation. No more waiting for the perfect moment. No more soft words or uncertain steps. You were not put here to beg for scraps. You were born to claim territory. You either command your life or it commands you. You either rise with intention or you fall by default. This world does not care about your excuses. It does not reward the man who almost tried. It opens only for the one who knocks with force, who shows up with resolve, who demands more from himself than anyone ever could. That man is dangerous. That man is rare. That man is you, if you choose to be. So choose now. Step into the fire. Speak your purpose. Walk with power. And never again ask for what you have the strength to take.